I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to Wise Advice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at fatdag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Wise Advice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 305 of Wise Advice. We call this Workbooks, Weddings, and Celebrating. We're going to go through kind of a bunch of little things, and I'll warn you ahead of time, this could be a little bit short of an episode, and I think that's kind of cool. I think it's good. Gets us back to what we want to get doing, but we'll kind of see if I can stretch it out just a little bit without rambling too much. If you know me, you've been around long enough, you know that at times I get on rants and I get on rambling, so hopefully that's not the case today. We'll stick right to it. So, guys, a couple quick things before we do. The Wise Advice app. You're going to notice that change. I just got an email alert from Apple a few hours ago saying that the app is finally in review. Apple will go through its review process. If it passes Apple's review process, then it gets released. So I'm going to guess, I said last week it would be a week. We're probably now within days. So your app, it's just a new screen. It'll look a little differently. You'll recognize it, but it'll look different. So make sure when that app gets updated or when the update's available, go ahead and update that. It's many versions ahead. Most of it is cosmetic and some technical stuff. You shouldn't, functionality-wise, it should function the exact same for you. So keep an eye on that as that rolls out. We're still marching our way to 10,000 workbooks given away. FatDag.com. Scroll to the bottom there. Get your free copy of the WhysrMe workbook. All you got to do is just trade an email address for the workbook. I'll email it to you as soon as you type in your email address. And then I'll follow up every single day for 7 days with an email walking you through how to navigate through that workbook. And at the end of that 7 days, we'll pause for a little bit. And then 30 days later, you're going to get a ping from me saying, hey, how you doing? And then 30 days from there, hey, how you doing? And so we'll keep that train up just to kind of keep you engaged and motivated, sending you some supplemental pages along the way as well. So keep an eye on that, or go get that, fatdag.com. Click on the very bottom link. You can also find it from my Instagram profile. It's in there listed as well. So I don't want to dig too long. I want to get right into into the show today. Out of Dothan, Alabama, Joan is the first to write in. And it says, hi, Mike. Thank you for this email. I've been off plan for 5 months. My weight has climbed up and my self-confidence has been very low. My clothes are tight. The mirror is not my friend, and even my hair and makeup does not help my overall looks. I am 57 years young and my body feels much older, losing flexibility and mobility as I gain weight. I know I can do this because I have. With your workbook, I have become motivated once more to kick up my thoughts to losing weight. My daughter is getting married in October, and I need to feel my best so I can relax and enjoy the celebration without thinking low of myself. But I need to lose weight for many whys. Thank you for cheering me on as well as all of the others. I am honored you're my wingman. Joan. Well, Joan, first and foremost, I will always be your wingman. That's the commitment that I have made. When I started this process, I said I would never leave this community, and I cannot hold that more true to my heart than anything else that I do. So I will always be here for you. I will always be here for this community. This community, I've said it before, this community completely saved my life. Completely saved my life and completely changed my life after it saved it. So for the rest of my life, this is my penance, right? For the rest of my life, I have to give back to this community. It is just what I feel compelled that I have to do. So if and when and whatever you need a wingman, I'm here for you. If you can't find me on the internet, you're not looking hard enough. I promise you, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on, everything, Snapchat even now. So though, please, if that's your only way to get a hold of me, be careful, because I don't know what I'm doing yet on Snapchat. But the point is that when you say that you're honored that I'm your wingman, and I tell you, I'm honored to be yours. It's a two-way street that we help each other, and that's how the whole thing works, is that we work together, reminding ourselves of what we're doing. I want to dig into your notes, though. I love when I get emails such as yours saying, here we go, I want to lose weight for a wedding coming up in October. Great goal. You're going to hear in just a little bit, the next email talks about that as a goal. But I want you to know right now, if that's the motivation you need to use to move forward, absolutely do. I want you to have goals beyond October, though, because sometimes when we set wedding goals, losing weight for weddings or losing weight for special events, we get to that event and that's the last time we thought about that goal. Whether we hit it or whether we didn't hit it, when the date comes, we abandon the plan that we were on. And I don't want that to happen. So as much as I want you to use this wedding as your motivation, use it as your fuel, it is very powerful to use that. So many people have done it. Family reunions, high school reunions, weddings. There are many opportunities to use that as motivation. Have a goal beyond that when that event comes, you don't abandon the plan. That's the caution I want to give you. But as you go back to the very beginning, you're on my email list, so I appreciate you writing in. There's about, I think there's about 9,000 of you or so that get an email from me somewhat regularly on occasion, and it's completely random. And I promise you, this is sidebar. I got an email alert the other day that someone subscribed to the newsletter, and then instantly unsubscribed, marked it as spam, and sent it back. And I'm like, this is the furthest thing from spam you can get. Any email that I send, if you reply, it comes into my inbox. So going back to the wingman concept, going back to being here together, that's what my commitment is to you. So anyway, so I had this email list, and every once in a while, periodically, I shoot a note out, and I sent the note out saying, get a copy of the workbook. Joan, you did. Thanks for doing that. But it seemed like that in your sense, being off plan for just a handful of months, that was nice to have that refresher come in. And that's kind of the whole intent behind this, is that I want to reach out when you sign up for the newsletter, there's a good chance that you're in a really good headspace, right? Because you're on my website, you're digging through some of the content, you're listening to the podcast. So that's not the time where you need that motivation, because you're probably pretty locked in. But there comes a time for many of us where 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 a year, months down the road, whatever it is, where we drift off a little bit. And we move in a different direction. We kind of forget about FatDag. We forget about WW. We forget about the Wise Wingman community because we get distracted with so many other things. The number one reason for my email newsletter is to kind of, boom, jolt you back and say, hey, don't forget, at some point you made this a priority. At some point, you were really motivated enough to let me know who you are so I could reach out randomly and wake you up and say, hey, I'm still here. I'm still willing to help, whatever you need. And so, Joan, I'm glad that it worked exactly as I prescribed. So the email wakes you back up. You say, yeah, I'm here. I'm back in the game, and you got a copy of the workbook. So awesome. Thanks for helping plug that. But you got that to say, I just want to get re-energized, remotivated. And as you walk through the 5 questions, it does a great job of breaking it out for you so you can kind of really baby step your way back to the success that you know you've had. When you talk about things like my clothes are tight, the mirror is not my friend, even my hair and makeup does not help my overall looks, I want to just, the words that jumped out of me in that sentence were, the mirror is not my friend. And let's think about that for just a minute. If a family member who who walked in that same mirror were to get a reflection and they said, man, I look really good today, would you counteract them and say, no, that mirror is evil? So the reason I joke about that is it's not the mirror. The mirror is only capable of giving us the reflection. How you interpret that reflection is what I want us to work on. You have the opportunity to say, hey, you know what? I like what I see. And you don't have to be satisfied with what you see, but you have to like what you see. Like what you see and then say, now I want to make changes in a different direction. But when we kind of go back and forth and think that maybe the mirror isn't our friend, then what it's really telling us is there some stuff going on upstairs that we've got to kind of clean out. One of the most powerful things I've realized in my journey is when I developed the opportunity to love myself first, that's when things started working. If you're going to wait until the day you get to goal to then turn over and say, now I finally love the mirror, now I finally love what I look like, now I finally love myself, in a lot of ways, it's too late. You have the capability now to love yourself where you are right now. Because I love you right where you are right now. If you're listening to this, I promise that my heart beats strong for you. Because you're engaged, you're here, you're committed, you're working at it. Whether you feel like you are or aren't, if you're listening to this, you're working at it. That's why again, my heart beats strong for you, because I'm like, yeah, you're giving it effort. Now, could we give it different effort? Sure. Could we give it additional effort? Sure. But the fact of the matter is that you are giving it effort. Look in the mirror and thank that person for giving it effort. Love that person for showing up to give it effort. The mirror is just telling you, it's just a reflection. So love yourself, love that reflection. Then what happens is, as you start developing the love for yourself, and it's okay to share it. Hey, that should be the next Facebook post for the next gazillion people, is I love me, right? Go ahead and do it. You have my permission to share it. I love me. Put it out there. Because it'll make you smile in such a way. It'll be interesting, honestly. It'll be interesting to see what the comments come about from your friends and networks when you put that out there. I'm going to put it out there as soon as I'm done the podcast, I promise you. I'm going to say I love me, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But the truth of the matter is, again, I do love me. I love the fact that even on the days that I'm terrible at being a WW member, I'm really good at being Mike. I'm really good at being FatDag. I'm really good at just enjoying the fact that I've got a lot of amazing things going for me. Just like you do. What an amazing moment you have coming up in your life. A wedding to celebrate in just a handful of months. It's incredible to have a family so tight that you want to be part of the wedding, that you're excited to be part of the wedding. As you've heard on the previous episodes that we've gone through, as we look at all of the things that we're doing right, there's plenty of opportunity to celebrate them. I heard this the other day. If we're looking for excuses, you'll always find one. Always. Every single time. If you're looking for reasons to figure out why this isn't working for you, you will always find one. Switch the narrative. Switch it up. Love yourself. Be happy that you're here. Celebrate all the things you're right. Go have an amazing time at this wedding, regardless of what happens between now and then. Love yourself enough to get there, to be in that moment, and celebrate. You absolutely can do this. And you ended that sentence with, because I have. You've proven that you know how to do this. You've proven that you're capable of getting results. If you have started on this path, any single person, if you had started on this path and you have moved the needle of the scale in the opposite direction for which it was headed before you joined, if you have moved the needle even the slightest amount, you have proven to yourself that you can do this. Now, do it again. Continue doing it. Continue to love yourself as you're learning that some days I'm really good at it, some days I'm learning differently. That's what it's all about. So keep up the amazing work, Joan. Thanks for writing in. I love getting emails that are just like yours, that you're recommitted, you're back on fire, you're restarting, whatever the word that you want to use in. The fact that you've taken the time to share that with me and share that with the community tells me a lot more than what your mirror is reflecting back, right? Your words off the paper are reflecting a great joy and positivity, and I'm glad to see them. So thank you for writing in. This next email comes in from Paige, and Paige wrote in an email. This is I'm going to piece it together a little bit for you. Lisa did an amazing job, like I said, curating it. So there's two emails here that kind of blend together. But it says, hello, FatDag. Hey, I wrote you about this time last year. Today, as I was listening to this week's broadcast, so you urged us to send in our celebrations. So I went back and I reread what I had written to you last year, and I'm so glad that I did. Here it is. Dear FatDag, I've been listening to your podcast regularly since February of 2018 when I rejoined WW after a 15-year absence. Yes, I'm a frequent flyer as well. My why started with something that you don't really recommend, a decision to lose weight for my daughter's wedding. However, that catalyst wasn't really about appearance. My daughter, an awesome Air Force captain, by the way, had been in a serious relationship with a nice young man, also an Air Force captain, for a few years. And I knew that a proposal was imminent. I was so unhappy with my weight, and it was seriously impacting my life in so many ways, too many to count. I just couldn't face participating in such a monumentous event in a state where I was unable to be my true self. Let me explain. I would be unable to let myself experience the day because I would be so self-conscious and physically limited. Here's an example. Should a 300-pound woman allow herself to dance? This was one of the many unpleasant thoughts running through my head. As the biggest person in the room, I work very, very hard at being the smallest, the least noticeable. I just knew that by putting myself into my self-imposed box that I would regret it forever. My daughter is amazing, and I'm a great mother. I deserve to be fully present on that day. So I turned to the best program that has worked consistently over the years, and that's WW. After an unexpected and unwanted divorce in 2006, the crushing responsibilities of being a single mother to 3 children, caring for aging parents, and the pervasive unhappiness led to some really bad habits. Since that time, I have accomplished many phenomenal things personally and professionally. Despite that, though, I have always felt deep down that my weight is a horrible character flaw, and I have to work harder than other people to compensate for it. This is exhausting. This hamster wheel of life left no time for me and led to nightly dinners of potato chips and wine. So, 15 months ago, I rejoined WW as an online-only member with a goal to lose 20 pounds. It took me a few days to face the scale, and I realized with horror that I weighed 20 pounds more than I thought I did. So now my goal was to lose 40 pounds. My decision to start with the online program was based on what I just didn't want to play games with like missing the meetings, and if I thought that I'd maybe gain in order to make excuses to myself or to others. To combat this, I made 2 promises. I would weigh in every week, and I would record the number, and I would track everything that goes in my mouth, good, bad, or indifferent. I lost the 40 pounds, and I kept going. This plan has been successful, and I accomplished what I set out to do. I am no longer last, and I put myself first by spending the money and the time that I need to eat, to exercise, and to rest. I am off my blood pressure medication. I am now considered overweight and not obese. Every morning I put on beautiful clothes with bright colors and prints. I don't feel the pressure to outperform everyone by staying at work until it's just me and the custodian in the building at night, or I don't feel I need to answer every single email or phone call till 10 p.m. each night. Then she continues on and says, well, marking that moment in time reminds me that I'm still on track. I am still working this program to help me manage my obesity every single day. To date, I have lost 137 pounds. I'm on a very long plateau, and I'm not making a huge amount of progress over the last 7 months. However, I am sticking to my promises to myself to track and to get in movement every single day. Since my last letter, my daughter was married in October, and it was a wonderful celebration. I was able to be my true self and fully present throughout the day without trying to be the smallest yet biggest person in the room. Thank you for being authentic about your journey and sharing your new strategy to help others stay on track. I appreciate the honesty, and it helps so much to have that connection with new ideas. Paige. Paige, awesome, 137 pounds, outstanding, with a goal to starting off losing 20, doubled it to 40, and then just kept on living the amazing lifestyle that you know you're capable of living. So, man, my heart just jumps off the page for you. It just, I got this self-contained smile right now. I'm just like, what an awesome email. And, and hey, it started off with the concept of wanting to lose weight for a wedding. And so, I'll admit when I'm wrong to some degree, And so it's not that I said in the first email, it's not that I don't want you to use that event as motivation. I just want, just as you did, I want you to have a plan beyond that date. Your plan has to extend beyond whatever the event is, and Paige, you just outlined exactly why that needs to be. Your question in the email asked, should a 300-pound woman be dancing at a wedding? Well, heck, first of all, yes, absolutely. If you're capable and you want to be out there, go out there, do it, enjoy it, have the best time out there, period. However, knowing that you continued on and you became full of joy in your own right, I'm sure it was that much more enjoyable internally. So I'm glad you were able to celebrate that. Congratulations to the pair of captains. Hopefully they'll both be majors soon, but that'll be fantastic. But congratulations to both of them. May they live a happy, long, healthy, happy, super duper life, I should say. But thanks for chiming in with your email and following up with a follow-up. I think a lot of times, even in this community that we're in, when folks write into the show, I think we do build a little bit of a community, and we kind of want to know from an update standpoint of what's going on now. And so I encourage you, if you've been on episodes 1 through 300, here's a great opportunity to give us an update as to what's going on, just as Paige had done this go around. Paige's first email didn't actually make it to the podcast because it was in the transition when we switched to producers and somehow it got lost in the inbox. So thanks, Paige, for resending it in. But I really want to, just kind of keep digging into the mindset shift that you've made. You noticed, you wrote down in the middle of your email that since the time that you wrote in the last time, you've accomplished many phenomenal things personally and professionally. And I want to hone in on that for just a little bit, because so many of us are capable of incredible things, not just in this space, right? In our work life, in our professional life, in our family life, we have done some pretty awesome things that we should be super duper proud of. What we are doing in that process also is we're proving to ourselves that given a plan, given the tools, I can follow them properly. And that's what WW really has given you, is giving you the opportunity to follow a plan, develop the tools, and just keep going. So you have the opportunity, and you've proven that. So when I ask you the 5 questions is, do you believe you can do it? What I'm kind of referring to is exactly that. Do you believe that you're capable of hard things? Not so much, maybe, do you believe you can do this, which is certainly important. But not so much that, but it kind of digs a little bit deeper and a little bit beyond that is do you believe you're capable of executing a plan? And when we break it down, if the answer wasn't an immediate jumping up and down yes, then we break it down and go, okay, what can we do to strengthen that belief muscle? So in your case, I've accomplished many phenomenal things. There's no way you can accomplish phenomenal things personally and professionally and not start developing the mindset and the attitude of, I can do blank. You start understanding that I actually can do some things. And then the blank becomes whatever the goal is next. But you've proven to yourself that given a goal, given a plan, I can follow through and make it happen personally and professionally. Then we switch it up and bring it up here. So your decision to restart going with an online-only system, that's an internal decision. And of course, no one will ever disagree or fault any decision that we make personally, because you have to do what you know about you that's going to work. And so many of us do that game, and it's slightly different now, of course, during this COVID-19 season. But so many of us do that game where if we believe the scale isn't going to reward us properly, we skip the weigh-in for the week, and then we do extra double down, so to speak, and we try really, really hard to make sure that we go back next week and the scale reflects a lower number so that no one will ever know that maybe the scale went up in between weeks. Now, certainly we know from history that doesn't work. Generally speaking, the reason that doesn't work is because we lose a little bit of motivation from not being at the workshop. So again, now during this season, slightly different, but you still have the opportunity to check in, weigh in at home. Avoiding the numbers, avoiding the scale is just an opportunity to avoid the data that you can feed into your plan and keep going. But you did an amazing job. You set 2 promises. Really simple, but really key. The 2 promises: weigh in every day, record the number, or weigh every week, record the number, and track everything. Setting those 2 simple truths as baselines, as bench lines of, okay, if I just do this, that's where success comes from. I build that up and say, let's find things that we can do consistently. Folks, this is all about consistency. The more you repeat the good things in your life, the more likely you're going to build on them and improve on them and get the results you're looking for. And that's what this whole journey is about. It's about completely changing your life. It's about jumping in your closet and putting on clothes with bright colors and prints, right? That's generally not something we jump up and down to. We don't want to be seen. We could be like she said, we could be the biggest person in the room, and we want to try and hide under the table leg, right? The table leg is not going to prevent the room from seeing us, but for some reason we want to give it that effort to do so. And we're certainly not going to put on bright colors and prints. But now we can. And the joy of being able to do that is what really just warms my heart for you, Jan. Paige, 137 pounds. Congratulations. Way to really just persevere. And as you continued on, your note says, I'm on a very long plateau. And I think that's, in some ways, I think that's fantastic. I think you've found now the definition of maintenance. I think 137 pounds down is a phenomenal place for you to to live in this plateau and just to do some evaluating and just do some self-looking and say, you know what, I can maintain this. I can live this way for the rest of my life. I can continue to really just be who I want to be and just have an amazing life by sticking to your promises, getting back on track, staying into the moment and living in whatever I can do today to move me closer to my goals. Paige, thanks for your email. Thanks for the update. Keep up the amazing work. And like I said, congrats to the captains. Give them my best for sure, and tell them thank them both for their service to our country. The last email from this show comes in out of Mary. Mary writes in and says, hey, I joined WW at the end of January and to date have lost 30 pounds, 20 of them during the pandemic. With that being said, my issue is not following the program, but feeling I shouldn't celebrate my losses during the Zoom workshops because of those that are struggling. When the coach asks for milestones or non-scale victories, I tend to keep them quiet. I've been listening to your podcast daily while working since I only heard about it about a few weeks ago, and I've been learning some important tools to help with my lifestyle change. Thank you, Mary. Mary, first of all, congratulations. 30 pounds, 20 of them during this pandemic. Phenomenal work. You've proven something that so many people need to hear. That it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. There are opportunities to pause. I get it. There are seasons of life that come at us a gazillion miles an hour. I get it. But no matter what is going on, there is somebody out there who's doing successfully, doing well with that same challenge going on. So we have to take it internally. We have to kind of own it by ourselves. But what's important to know is that it can be done. I say that all the time is one of the coolest things about this journey is when somebody says, I'm not sure if I can do it, it doesn't take long to look around the community and find someone who's doing it in very similar or maybe worse scenario and circumstances. So here is why I want you to go to your next Zoom meeting and start jumping up and down and screaming. There is someone in that room who is feeling like that maybe this pandemic is too much. Maybe that there's no way that it's just not possible. And if we sat in a workshop and the coach asked 50 people to 100 people, whatever's in the room, said, hey, how are you doing with your scale victories and your non-scale victories, and the entire room was silent, the one person who felt like they couldn't do it finds validation in that. And it's a false validation because it's absolutely not true. That person needs you. Mary, that person needs you to jump up and down and say, hey, I lost 20 pounds during this pandemic, 10 before. I persevered, I kept going, and I'm doing it. And I'm doing it well. And here's how I'm doing it. And you give a little bit of hope to that person because now you're showing them, follow this path. You don't have to make your own path. The path has been laid and made. Follow me and do it. So, and I get where it comes from. It's the Zoom meetings are in some ways are a little awkward, right? Because you kind of have to raise your hand, or you kind of got to make sure that you're not jumping on somebody. And we've been kind of taught for a long time that maybe if you got something really good going on in your life, just kind of keep that to yourself, because the rest of us just want to be miserable. And we don't need that. You don't need to be miserable. I'm going to put on my Facebook as soon as I've done the podcast, I love me. I don't care what you think. I do. And so I want you to do it as well. And I want you to tell me about all the amazing things you're doing in your life. Because let's be honest, I need to hear it too. Right? I'm living this pandemic just like everybody else is. And I need to continually hear that this can be done no matter what the circumstances that you've been dealt. There is an opportunity for you to choose differently. You don't have to be perfect. You never have to be perfect. But you just got to kind of want to go with it and do it. I'm glad you found the podcast, and certainly dig in deep and use that as motivation. But and I'm glad that you took the moment here to write in. Because you absolutely, without a doubt, need to jump up and down and say, I can do this. I am doing this. Watch me, follow me, do whatever you need to do, but join me. Because that's where the true joy comes from, is by you celebrating your success. When you celebrate your success, what happens is you start craving that celebration. And then you start looking for the next opportunity to celebrate. And you start working even harder to celebrate bigger and better things and accomplishments. And before you know it, you're the most amazing version of yourself that you've ever been. The mirror reflects it, but you knew it long before then. I always want to hear what it is that you're celebrating. In fact, let's share it on the air. Go to FatDag.com, click on the Wise Advice podcast, send in your celebrations, your comments, or your questions. I will work them in as part of the show. Emailing in those celebrations really tells me that you're proud of what you're doing. It tells me that you're engaged in the community. It tells me that you want to be a part, you want to be a better you, you want to share everything you know with the entire community. It keeps us connected. It keeps us so that we all have this common thread that ties us together. And I couldn't be more proud of this community. I couldn't be more proud of every single person listening. You guys continue to stay actively engaged and into your journey and doing all the right things to keep you moving in the direction that's going to fuel your dreams. So keep up the amazing work. But that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. From Jacob, editing remotely, Lisa and Heather from the content production team, Janine over there in Facebook, we wish you good focus. Bye-bye.